To show the size and location of these holes, I'm going to use a hole table. From the table drop-down menu, I'm going to select Hole Table. I'm going to work with the defaults here. If I had a corner on my part I wanted as the origin, I would select it. But since I don't, I'm going to click in the x-axis and choose this line as the x datum and this part edge as the y datum, and here it shows me my x and y positive directions. Now I want to add holes. So first I'm just going to add a hole table for these tapped holes. So I've selected these two tapped holes. It's going to tag them with the letter A, A1, A2, B, etc. And then I'm going to right click to tell I'm done creating that hole table. It's going to want to keep creating hole tables, so I'm going to say I'm done, choose that, and I have a hole table, and for now I'm just going to put it over here in this corner. So it tells you the tag, and here we see the tags. We often need to neaten them up a bit so they're easier to read. So it tells me at A1 and A2 I have a hole. Here's its X and Y location, and here's the hole callout. Notice how I have an inch drill size for the metric thread. So next I want to go back and I want to add these two tapped holes as well. So I want to add to the table. To add those two holes to the table, I'm going to move over to the feature tree and I'm going to expand this sheet. I'm going to expand the drawing view 42, and here's my table. I'll right click on it and I'm going to say edit feature, and my table comes back. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to try and add these two tapped holes. So I'll select these two edges and you'll notice how I have the entire slot, and I'll right click to accept that and I'll say OK. And my table now has a B1 and a C1 hole. But if we look at the location, it doesn't look like it's on the center of the hole. I'm going to check their location by using the measure tool. So from the evaluate tab, I'm going to choose measure. I'm going to go from the edge over to this circle. I'll move this down and I'm going to tell it to give me the center distance. And what I see here is my center distance is 25 mil from this edge, or 0.984. This is to this hole. So if I come over here, it's my x-axis. In my x-axis, neither of these holes show at 0.984. So I'm going to close the measure tool. What we're actually seeing in our hole table is the center of the slot, and there's also no hole callout. So I'm not happy with this. I'm going to have to do it a slightly different way. First, I'm going to come back here and select the C1 tag and push delete on my keyboard to remove it and say OK. And I'll delete the B1 tag as well and select OK, and that removes them from the table. The next thing I'd like to do is both these holes have the same hole callout. So I'd like to just combine all holes with the same callout. To combine these two cells, I'm going to right click in this cell, and then I'm going to select combine same size. And then any hole that has the same hole callout will be combined. To add the quarter 20 holes to the table, I'm going to move my mouse over here near the lower right hand corner. When I get this black arrow, and then right click and select insert row below. I'll do this twice to add 2 rows. And I'll click in this cell, and here I'll add my hole callout. To manually type in a cell, I'll double click. Then I'll select the CL symbol to add a symbol. I'll choose the diameter symbol, and I'll type 0.201 space and then capital through all. Unfortunately, if I press enter, I just exit the cell. So I'll double click back in this cell. My cursor's here. So after I've typed through all, I'm going to add my quarter dash 20 UNC dash 2B thread callout. Now I want all of the quarter 20 UNC 2B in the next line. So I'll click back after the all, and I'll push the space bar until the quarter 20 wraps to down here. Now that I have what I want, I'll just click outside of Excel to accept it. Again, both of these hole locations will be for this hole callout. So I'm going to combine these two cells. I'm going to select this cell, hold Control, select this cell, and then I'll right click and select Merge Cells. Next, I'll manually have to add the tags and the hole locations. I'll add the hole locations first. So again, I'll double click into this cell. Double clicking lets me manually enter this. The problem with entering their hole location this way is if I update the part, the cell will not update. So I'll enter 0.591, double click in the second X and enter 0.984. And I'll double click in the Y cell. I'll enter 0.63. And in my last Y cell, I'll enter the Y location of 0.748. Next, I'll go to the tags. I'll double click here and I'll enter a tag of B1. Then I'll double click in this cell and enter the tag of B2. Then I'll click outside here. The last thing I need to do, or the next thing, is add the B1 and B2 tags to my part view. I'm going to come over to the annotation tab, select note, and then out here in white space, I'm going to click and then type B1. Then I'll click. I'll click again to place this, and I'll type B2. I'll click to accept that and press escape to stop. Now I'll drag the B1 location over to this hole and the B2 tag over to this hole. So now my hole table makes sense. In the next video, I'll go through how to create a hole table, but for slots.